Started raining last night around 2 a.m. and it's been going on ever since. Feels like it's been raining every day here in Minnesota, and that has really done a number to the mosquito population. Some of you were asking about the fogger that I used last year. Last night I had to break it out. When I got into the campsite, I fogged the area on the other side of the camper. I left Toby inside the truck so that way he wasn't exposed to any of it, and then fogged the campsite. It did help out a little bit. But there's one thing that's really going to help, and that's going to be taking down some of the brush. I got into this campsite last night. It's an easy campsite to get into, and that's why I chose it. We are on a little pond. It's not much of a lake. We'll go check that out in a little bit. But I think the first thing that I got to do is knock down some of this grass here. Let me show you the campsite. Toby's enjoying the lazy morning. We do have a fire pit, and hopefully we'll get some good use out of that this weekend. There's a trail going down to a little pond. I've been hearing loons this morning, so maybe we'll even get them on video. But first, I got a new toy. We got to get some of this brush knocked down. Let me show you what I got. Come on, Toby. You may have noticed that I picked up that Milwaukee chainsaw. Well, that's because Home Depot was running a Memorial Day sale, and they were running this combo set. It was a chainsaw and a weed whip. If you bought them both together, it was $400 savings. So I picked up the weed whip, an 8 amp hour battery, and the chainsaw for $300 some odd. Weed whip's gonna come in handy today. I already used it last night a little bit. Let me show you what we got going on here. Well, lasted about 45 minutes and got quite a bit of work done. And just so everyone's aware, this is not state park land. If it was, we wouldn't be able to be out here trimming this up. But we're on county land right now. In fact, I've held probably a dozen contracts with the Department of Natural Resources to do exactly this. Back 10 years ago, 15 years ago, once a week, I'd be out cleaning up boat landings. I don't know if the state puts money into it anymore though. Last weekend when we were looking for campsites, I checked 3 different hand launches. They no longer existed. So I'm glad that we could bring this one back to life. We only got 1 bag of trash out of the whole campsite. Not too bad. Look at that, the sun decided to come out. I think I'm gonna hop in the shower really quick, make sure that I wash off any poison ivy oil I got floating around. I was looking at the campfire ring. It could use a little help. The rocks were a mess, and I tried to make it a little bit of a circle, but it's really not that good of a fire pit. But Toby and I went on a walk earlier, and that's when I realized that they went through here with the road grader, kicked up a bunch of really big rocks onto the shoulder. So what I think we're gonna do is go get some of those, rebuild this fire pit, make it better than new. Too bad I couldn't fit a wheelbarrow in the back seat, because that would really come in handy. I'm thinking there should be enough rock here to build a nice fire ring. done. Thinking the first thing I'll do is probably dig out an area how big I want the pit, get all of the rocks moved away, start restacking them. Check back in like 25-30 minutes. We'll see where this is at. I'm thinking that looks like a fire pit. Good work, Toby. You knocked it out of the park. We are going to be ready for a fire. But of course, looks like the rain's going to be coming back. Maybe I should take Toby out for another walk really quick, just to make sure if we're stuck inside for a few hours, he at least had a couple of good walks today. I know what you're probably thinking. Kenny, your door's open. You're going to get bugs in there. Let me show you what I'm doing to control the mosquitoes. I mentioned the lanterns last weekend. It's a tiki torch fuel. It's got citronella and cedarwood scent. And then I've got a thermocell down by the door. Right underneath the steps, we've got a mosquito coil. If we follow around the camper, I've got another coil right on top of the tire there. And as we keep going around the camper, I got another coil up front. And one more on this side of the camper. And that one is just to keep help the mosquitoes out from going into the slide. And then over here by the campfire, I've got another thermocell right on the chair. And all those combined do a good job of keeping the mosquitoes out during the daytime. Come about 9:30 at night though, nothing's gonna work. The mosquitoes will sit right on top of the coils. They'll be flying inches above the thermocells. Nothing helps at that time of the night. You waiting for me? Let's go. Yesterday they were calling for like a 3% chance of rain, but then it rained all morning long. I don't have cell phone service again, so I'm not sure if the rain's gonna come back or not. But the one thing I can say is it's probably dropped about 10 degrees in the last 2 hours. Not complaining about that though. I mentioned this morning that I was looking for a campsite that was going to be easy to get into. And the main reason is, with all the rain lately, these trails out here are just trashed. So it's really nice to see that they're out here with the grader doing some work. Look at this. They must also have been out here doing some spraying. See all the dead weeds? Yeah. They've definitely been out here doing something. You being a good boy. They almost need to put in a culvert right here. You can see how high the water is, and the road is just mud. If we look on the other side, it's a really steep drop off. I'm surprised they didn't put a culvert in. Well, check that out. Someone's lost a muffler right here. Nice. There's been about a half a dozen ATVs that have driven past the campsite today, but everybody's been really friendly and waved. They're out here doing the exact same thing that we're trying to do, just find a little escape for the weekend. What a beautiful day. I have noticed something out here though. Every once in a while I come across these foot tracks. They're not mine. I'll show you. That's what my track looks like, and that's the tracks that I'm seeing out here. Maybe it's just someone that stopped on their ATV and took a break. I'm thinking it's going to start raining pretty soon. We should probably get back. When I got here, the cell phone was bouncing between no signal and 1 bar. So I decided to put up the cell phone booster, and I was able to send out some text messages. So I asked Mandy if it was going to be raining here, and she said it looks like it's a 50-50 chance on the radar whether or not we're going to get rain. We're going to chance this fire and see what happens. Maybe if nothing else, it'll get hot enough so that we'll still be able to cook over it, even if we got a little bit of a sprinkle. I still got about 3.5 hours before dark. The one nice thing about a campfire is the smoke. It's going to help keep the mosquitoes away. Now that Toby has had supper, I can finally eat. And I'll answer a question that I get a lot down in the comments, and that's, why don't I feed Toby off of my plate? The big reason is he's got a very sensitive stomach. We've tried giving Toby treats in the past. Any variation in his food is going to give him an upset stomach. And if I don't wake up at 2, 3 o'clock when he's crying, well, I'm going to wake up to a pile on the floor in the morning. We've tried introducing treats to him, even simple stuff. Little baby carrot, it's going to upset his stomach. He'll be crying in the middle of the night. If I don't hear it, he's going to make a mess on the floor. Toby has seen the vet many times. I've got Toby in February. He's seen the vet every month since February. Initially, we were having some problems with his teeth, so he was seeing the vet, and he's had multiple checkups. And the vet says there's absolutely nothing wrong with him. As he gets older, the stomach will kind of settle in, and we'll start introducing treats. But as of right now, the only thing that I give Toby is the bones that I get from the local butcher shop in town. It's the only thing that doesn't seem to give him an upset stomach. The food that I feed him is a quality kibble food, I guess is what they call it. It's a dry food, high protein food, and it works really well for him. This is probably the 4th food that I've tried. It was a recommendation from the vet, and it's working out for him. I don't talk about it a lot in videos because I know that the one thing that kind of gets people going, and you get a lot of judgmental comments, is what you feed your dog. So I feed Toby what's best for him. You got to trust me when I tell you that I love Toby with all of my heart, and I would never do anything that would put him in danger, and I want to make sure that he has the best life possible. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that Toby has the absolute best life that I can provide him. So be reassured, I'm taking care of Toby. He's always has access to fresh water, and I do give him food. Let's get supper going. And tonight, I'm going simple. We're going to have some potatoes, onion, probably have some butter in there, and a big old fat steak. Toby was at the vet about 2 weeks ago. He weighed 58 pounds. He's got another checkup in a couple of days. But even then, he weighed 58 pounds, which is kind of big for the breed. If you haven't seen that video, he's 50% American Pit Bull, 35% Staffordshire Terrier, 15% Bulldog. So at 58 pounds, he's getting pretty big for the breed of dog that he is. I'm going to be curious to see in 2 years when he's all filled out how big he is, because he's absolutely beautiful right now. Let's get these in aluminum foil and get them on the fire. I made these baby Yukon Golds a couple of weeks ago when Mandy was out with me, and they just pop right in your mouth. They were so good, and even a couple of days later, they were still awesome out of the microwave. So we're going to have them again tonight. We'll be putting them in this Kingsford aluminum foil bag. I had a lot of people ask me about this bag, and if I can find a link to them, then I'll put that right on the screen so you can check them out. But man, are they handy. Let's get that onion cut up. Perfect. we'll get this closed up nice and tight, and the steam will help cook them. Hopefully we got some coals. We'll find a good spot for this on the fire. I think what I'm going to try and do is use the rocks to almost make like a little oven in the fire pit here. We'll see what we can do. What do you think? Is this going to be good, Toby? So we're going to try and move these coals out of the way. And I picked up a rock while I was out on that walk this afternoon. We're going to cook on that. But I also want to block some of that heat. Not too much though. Let's try that. There we go. But I still want to make sure that I keep this fire going. So on this side of the rock is where we're going to have the fire. I'm hoping that the heat kind of transfers through, doesn't burn the potatoes. That's the plan. Will it work? Who knows? I've never done this before. I put the chairs underneath the slide for now. It started sprinkling out. But I think the fire will be fine. In a little bit, we'll get the grill grate out, put the steak on. Supper should be delicious. Potato has been sizzling for a while now. The steak has been salt and peppered. We're ready to go on the fire. The onions and potatoes are smelling fantastic. I'm sure they're done. This steak is probably going to take about 6 minutes. This is going to taste really good. I should probably see if I can flip these guys. I don't know how much sitting around the campfire we're going to do tonight. Not with this sprinkle in the air. This box makes just an awesome garbage. I've had people ask me if I'm worried about wild animals smelling this and coming into camp. All I know is that if a black bear was cooking this, I'd definitely be in his den. That looks awesome. Must be leaking a little butter. Feeling perfect, and it looks like our little potato oven down there worked out really well. Looks like we just made it in time to get in the camper before the mosquitoes eat us alive. I'll see you in there. Well, this will be the true test of that campfire. Let's see how the potatoes turned out. All right, let's see if they're soft. Oh yeah, I mean, they're just falling right apart. That is gonna be so awesome. Butter, onions, potatoes, steak. We gotta cut this guy open. No problem. Look at that. Perfect steak. I'm gonna so enjoy supper tonight. This is gonna be good. I think I've told you before, I've never really cooked over a campfire until I started the channel. I'm gonna dig into supper, clean this camper up, and I'll get back with you guys. You can tell that Toby eats good because he doesn't even care that I got steak up here on the table. No matter where I park, every Saturday night, this camper, that bed, it feels like home. I just love this thing. Toby and I went out for a walk this morning. We stayed outside as long as we could. I think a combination of all the recent rains that we've been getting and then a pond in the back, this is a perfect breeding ground for mosquitoes. And I do feel a little bad. I know if the mosquitoes are bothering me, they gotta be bothering him too. He does take a monthly medication from the vet, and it's gonna cover ticks, fleas, and heartworm. So we are keeping up on that. In a little bit here, we're gonna get outside. I gotta clean this campsite up. I don't know if I'm gonna bring you with, because I'm gonna be moving pretty quick. There is one thing though from yesterday that we gotta finish up. Must be off of Ford. I'll be driving down that road again, and I don't want to look at that muffler and think, why didn't I pick that up? We can just take this home. I've got a scrap pile at home, so we'll add this to the collection. And then this afternoon, the fan clutch went out in my daily driver, so we got to get going home because I got to fix that. Darn ticks. I bet I picked 100 of them off me this weekend. Oh. Well, there is the rumble of thunder, which can only mean two things. One, it's going to start raining again, and two, we got this video in the bag. I don't know if you can tell, but I am soaking wet. The humidity and dew point is crazy this morning. We got to put the slide in yet. I hope that you've enjoyed this campsite. This is what a lot of state forest campsites look like. You could bring a fifth wheel in here, pull behind, Class A. Oh, hi, buddy. You know, they're not far off the main forest roads, and this is a nice one. So we're going to do this again next Tuesday. Until then, be kind, be honest. We'll see you down the road. Let's go home, buddy. Come on.